Defense made a motion for a mistrial. Prosecutor was up to some fuckery. Potentially damaging evidence, no basis for it. The judge specifically said, do not ask that question. Do not use that as evidence. She walked right down the path and asked the question. It may be over on Tuesday morning. Batman Bruce Wayne bitch snitch. Gerald Brooks, your constitution does not apply to me because I'm a sovereign citizen, a traveler on the land, I'm the Moorian Empire or whatever, bitch snitch. Because they're so fucking absurd. If you want to be a sovereign citizen, just do yourself a favor first. Go to YouTube here and just get every sovereign citizen that's ever been before. Find me one that won. God dang, you're right. Don't go down this. It's not the path. Don't have time for stupidity. Some clever dick on the internet didn't find the great loophole in all of the world's law. Bitch snitch. God dang, you're right. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. God dang, you're right. Moorish Empire. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. Moorish Empire. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. Late evening U.S. people.
What do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God! No!
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, I'm just glad you're here doing it with me. Legal Vices on this little old channel we like to call Legal Vices because I'm clever like that. Broadcasting live on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter. I refuse X. X is not a thing. It never will be if I have anything to say about it. It'll be Twitter forever. Yeah, you young whippersnappers, and you're changing stuff around. We are live on all three platforms, but you people here on YouTube, I'm glad you're here. We got some things to do today. We are wrapping up day 8 of the LEILANI Simon murder trial. There's 9 days. I'm starting to think the defense isn't going to put on a case. I think they're going to stand up and go, we got nothing. Well, I mean, the legal way of saying we got nothing is we believe the state has failed to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt so badly that we don't even need to put on a case rather than actually not having a case. But yeah, the prosecution better rest real soon if the defense plans to put on a show. We'll just see if that happens today. Well, currently here across all the platforms, we have 143 people as people trickle in slowly but surely. All right. What's the deal with YouTube? YouTube is being odd. YouTube says we got 5 people here. I refuse to believe we have only 5 people here. Now we got 110. Great. I'll listen to that. YouTube. All right, people, we do have our like and subscribe poll here over on YouTube. If you're on the other platforms, just you can put it in the chat, put it in the comments what your choice would be. The like and subscribe poll is, again, just a poll that we have to remind you to do those YouTubey things to actually hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have already subscribed, double check to make sure you still are, because YouTube really, really enjoys unilaterally ripping people's subscriptions. So just double check to make sure you're still subscribed. Thank you, everybody. And the little like and subscribe poll that we've thrown together today is, will AI be the death of us? Will AI be the death of us? Your answers to choose from are, duh, Elon is Skynet, Terminator. Think about it. Think about it. He's got a bunch of robots that go around that are supposed to be the servants of mankind. And then they had in Terminator, the same thing. They had a giant satellite network to control all this stuff. Yeah, sort of like, Elon is Skynet. So duh, Elon is Skynet, Terminator. Your second choice is, yes, I've seen the Matrix movies. Your third choice is, maybe just it's just as RoboCop. It should say just ask RoboCop. And, RoboCop was a little iffy there. They had the good RoboCop, they had the bad RoboCop, they had the failed RoboCops that just sort of gun people down. And your final choice is, no, robots are our friends, right, C-3PO? Now we need like an evil C-3PO. Anyway, that's our like and subscribe poll for the day. Nothing too edgy, nothing too serious. All right. Well, I think that's all the business we got to take care of. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We should be doing the first part of day 9. Thursday, American Thanksgiving Day, will not be streaming. Then Friday, we'll be doing more of this. I don't know what we'll do over the weekend. Maybe something, maybe not. Next Monday, we'll probably wrap it up with closing argument, verdict, and other things related thereto. So there we are with that. And today, in case you're wondering, in case you're keeping track at home, in case you want to keep the streak alive, we are currently on day what? We're currently on day what? Day 65 of the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs. We've got the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs lined up right here. Yoda is feeling a little under the weather today. We'll talk about that if we hit day 66 of the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs. And y'all know what you got to do. We just got to get to the achievement level. 100 in super chats, gifted memberships, purchase memberships, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, whatever, aggregate of 100. That unlocks the achievement of the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs. So if you want it, you got it. If not, the streak ends 35 days shy of 100. And just kind of looking at it, it looks like day 100. I haven't done the actual counting, but it looks like day 100 could be on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, somewhere around there. So it could be a big year-end celebration to hit triple digits. Well, so we've already started a little bit down the path there. Sonny A. Chris has gifted 5 Legal Vices memberships. If you happen to be Shauna Emmons, Hank Drunkowski, Tracy Fagan, Wendy A., and I'll assume Arizona Techie. I'll assume Arizona Techie. If you're one of those 5 people, you got a gifted membership from Sonny A. Chris. Make sure you give Sonny A. Chris a super special thanks. He's an OG, super awesome guy. Thank you so very much for that. That puts us significantly down the path of unleashing day 6 of the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs. Someone just asked, what's on your shirt? It's the original Dungeon Master's Guide cover. That's what's on my shirt. The original D&D Dungeon Master's Guide cover. Well, not the original, the original hardback version. The ones that came in, originally it was just it wasn't even really called the Dungeon Master's Guide. So I guess this is the first dungeon. All right, we're not going to nerd out on D&D. Let's go. Shut up, me. Okay, that takes care of everything we got to get out of the way. As you know, the like and subscribe button's right down there. Just get it out of the way while we're thinking about it. Do your like and subscribe stuff. Keep the streak alive with the doggo cam if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, just sit back and enjoy the show. Any super chats that come in will be read at natural breaks in the hearing, at sidebars, pee breaks, lunch breaks, just people wandering around trying to figure out technology breaks, whatever it is. That's when we'll read the super chats if they come in. All right, folks. Nope. Shelby Fogg dropping the verse of the Aussie $5. I'm just here till my pain meds kick in. Yikes. Broke my hand last Friday. Ow. Let's try not to do that. That sucks and hurts. That's a ouch. I hope you heal fast. As someone who's broken a couple of wrists and an arm, yeah, I feel your pain quite literally. So get better soon, and thank you so much, Shelby Fogg, for being here and for the amazing, wonderful, awesome support. Deeply, deeply appreciated. And all right, that's it. Let's bring up day 8, the afternoon session. And there we go. Let's see, 203 people here now across all platforms, 143 on YouTube. The rest picked up elsewhere. Welcome, everybody, to day 8 of this hellaciously evil woman's trial. And let's put me where I belong. We'll throw this here on closed captions and scoot it on over. And that's it. We are ready to go.
So this is us touching on her previous statement back on 10/12, where she's describing very vividly how she threw away the trash, and we're asking her to revisit.
Yes,
that memory.
There, we'll go back a few minutes. We'll go back about 5 minutes. This is the lead investigator again. They're doing another investigation. They're doing another interrogation session of the ever lovely LEILANI Simon. May she rest in hell. But they've already found the body of her 20-month-old toddler, shredded and torn to pieces in the landfill. They have just told her they found the baby. And now they're coming in. You've changed your story. You got to tell us what's up. We got the goods now. So this is the confrontation part of the interrogation. So let's go.
You did harm your child. You hit him. You know.
This is the end of the first part.
And it's just facts. It isn't under hit. It's hit. No. And I mean, I never lied to you about anything. I never said anything to you that I didn't know or back to be true. And I don't believe that you hit him. But you hit him in the dumpster because you would harm him in some way for that.
Ooh, that's a pleasant sound. What was that?
Like, how scary is it though? You did. You have a scalp. So you did. And my parents were like, she thought I came back and she said, I'll see if you would like help. You might put some in your vacations. You're just like somebody myself who didn't try. You might not. Yeah. So we're just in the process anyway. So what's the last thing you remember before?
Now this is a problem. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. This is her deal. This is her deal. She said, "Oh, you know, I was doing." First of all, she didn't do anything. Then she did. So then she smoked some weed. Then there may have been a little bit of cocaine. Then it turns out there was weed, cocaine, and she was popping Percocets like they were going out of style. And she said she was so fucked, intercoursed up. Sorry, we're too early for the F-bomb here. She was too intercoursed up that she doesn't remember. She blacked out. She doesn't remember even leaving the house, although the police say she left the house. So now they're like, well, maybe you don't remember doing something. You know, it could have been a terrible experience. You don't even remember. Well, you know what? You know, tell us what happened. So they're trying to get around this. Okay. Your I don't remember thing isn't going to work because is it possible you did something to your child and just conveniently don't remember it right now? But while we're stopped here, we have Lone Star Living with the Venmo for the pig dogs. It's $10. It says $5. Yeah. Oh, $5. I was wrong. $5 for the doggies. Thank you so much, Lone Star Living, for Venmoing for the doggies. That is pretty dang awesome of you. Thank you so much. And Jake $80.76 says Gary Gygax was half of the duo that gave us D&D. He was the important part that gave us the D&D. Yeah, I can't erase him. So there you go. He's the backbone. He's the founder. All right. Enough of that. So what's the last thing you remember before you blacked out, bitch?
Turning back from Zelle. Did you see him in the bed? Right when you got home or something? Like you came home, is it lying and you slept? Yeah, it's not. He was like, so that was like the 10 something, 10:40s. I'm still not right now for that right trip. And that's your last memory all that night. You know, and then yeah. I said I had a verbal dress.
Right.
Now,
That's
at the
part
end
1 of
there,
3.
What did she arrive at ultimately for the period of time for which she was claiming a total lack of memory?
She said the last thing that she remembered was looking at Quentin and then driving back from Azalea.
Looking at Quentin after the park ride trip.
Yes. And then blacking out and then coming back to it as she's coming back from Azalea.
And what was she saying in there about?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, that's a crock of shit right there. The last thing I remember while I'm hopped up on this incredible drug cocktail is looking at my 20-month-old baby. You know, I'm sitting there in the chair, looking at my little baby in the little baby playpen. And then the next thing I remember, I'm driving home from this video where they're showing me throwing something in the dumpster. I remember nothing between the time of looking at my baby in his bed and then driving home. Yeah, X to doubt for that one. That's an X to doubt for me. Come on, that's a bunch of hooey.
What caused her to start forming memories again on the way back from Azalea?
Hitting the railroad tracks.
Oh yeah, that's right. She ran over the railroad tracks and went, oh God, where am I? Oh, I'm driving home. Oh, my car doesn't smell like rotten pasta anymore. What have I been doing? Now, come on. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that if you are on this raging drug cocktail of weed, perks, and coke, and you're looking at your baby, and then you black out, and suddenly, what was it, 3 or 4 hours later? I don't know how long it was. It was a long time later. Anyway, so suddenly later you hit some railroad tracks and you go, oh, where am I? Oh God, what the fuck? If you go home, isn't the first thing you're gonna do look to see, check on your kids and whatnot, to look to make sure everybody's still where you left them before you had this big drug blackout? Yeah, doesn't seem to be what she did though.
So fair to say she's claiming something like a 2-hour plus total lack of memory.
Yeah, she would have gotten back from Arkwright shortly after 11, and then she gets back from Azalea around 1:30. So yes.
And is it fair to say that that period of time for which she's claiming a total lack of memory would encompass both the time period in which law enforcement believed the murder had occurred and the time period in which the disposal of Quentin's body had occurred?
Yes.
So it's like the times of the crimes.
Yes, it is.
This next clip, what is this clip?
So this is us touching on her previous statement back on 10/12, where she's describing very vividly how she threw away the trash, and we're asking her to revisit that memory that she's had. She's telling us that there's 2 trash bags, and then you'll hear me ask specifically whether or not Quentin was in those trash bags.
Oh God. Now, the first couple of times, or however many times she told this story, there was 1 trash bag. Now there's 2 trash bags during a black. Oh, this is getting stupid. This is stupid. Now, I have some breaking news here. I just got a personal text message from Flux, our very own House of Flux, who is lurking here in chat as we speak. Apparently, we're twins. Apparently, Flux is through some some fate of the universe wearing exactly the same shirt that I'm wearing right now. So it's the universe at work. Flux is wearing the same Dungeons and Dragons shirt that I'm wearing right now. Spooky.
And does she outright deny that Quentin was in one of those trash bags?
She does not.
And this clip is later in time than the bit we just watched.
Yes, it is.
This is when y'all are kind of reminding her of her previous statements, which seem to conflict with what she's just told you about this total lack of memory.
Correct.
The story with
Oh, and I apologize. I apologize before we jump into this real quick. One more quick thing. Just got an announcement from our very own Winks. Our very own Winks here. She has, through Venmo, given us $20 for the doggo cam. Sweet. What? There was a message attached to it. What is the message here? The message is, as soon as it connects, doggos from Winks. That's the message. Thank you so much for the support, Winks. You rock. Thank you.
there was another trash out there. Because I look on it wasn't. Before there was like 2 minutes later. And then I should remember. I remember there was little food. Saying when I was trying to do it. Did you use a trash bag? I don't recall it, but I had a trash bag. Okay. I don't recall nothing from before I left the house or we came there.
Oof.
Did we hear you? She said there was a trash bag in there, right?
Yes.
And then you said, "Is that what Quentin was in?" Is
Yes.
that right? And at that point, did she say, "Well, there were 2 trash bags"?
Yes.
And did we hear you ask her, "Did you use a trash bag?"
Yes, I did.
And by that, did you mean, did you use a trash bag to dispose of Quentin's body?
Yes.
And was her answer to that, "I don't remember grabbing a trash bag"?
That was her answer.
In other words, she didn't say, "Well, hold on, I didn't dispose of his body."
She did not say that.
Mr. Dean, how long is this study?
It is about 3 minutes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Or this would be the third.
All right. Part 3 of 3 videos they wanted to show.
Do you remember what it is that we're going to hear in this clip, more or less?
So we're challenging her on her many stories throughout the last 2 months and why she said these stories to us if she didn't have a memory, why she constantly changed, what happened that night, who went out to Azalea. It's kind of just our last crack at trying to find out what really happened.
And we're like, why didn't you tell us several times different stories? I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. You said it was two times that Brad sat there. And told me when it came on the side, he was like, no, no, mother, isn't it? And then he watched me. I had no memory, so I know exactly where I know it was trash. Right now, I can make sense of this, and it's totally, original. And he said there was no way to go original. I think it was the other theory.
Oh, bite me with that Origel story.
That was totally trash. We got out of the house first. Wait for Daddy for me. But we know now that trip to Azalea, Quentin was there. So go back to that see that he made to Savannah Breath. You remember seeing the trash bag, looking into it? I didn't look into that. Tired was. Right. So you didn't actually look into it? The only thing that could have been was spoon food. You were pretty restricted though. Because we had the smell, the spoon like shrimp pasta. Not even the smell. Same smell.
Oh, intercourse you and your stupid, it was stinky pasta. It was your frickin' child, you monster.
throw it in there. It wasn't heavy at all.
Leilani, Jimmy, do you remember him being in that trash bag? We know at this point he was.
I don't remember that. I don't remember him in a bag. I don't remember leaving the house with him. I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Why did you tell us all the story about just all of these stories, pretty much?
Yeah, because come on. See, this is the stupid shit. Oh, I don't remember throwing the trash bag away. But remember in our previous interview? You remember in our previous interview when we asked you to demonstrate how you threw away the pasta in the bag and you used two hands and went like this into the dumpster? Oh, I mean, there was two bags. I don't remember throwing the other one away. Yeah, come on.
Myself, he was the one that said, I saw you in the trash and throw it away.
Can I say something?
It's gonna help, but what Lynn's asking right now. This is a very small fraction of the mountain. So that whole scale is trash. And everything so I can bring that is trash. You see how little those people are. Do you think that we could have found him if we didn't know that you put him in a dumpster and we knew exactly where that dumpster went? Yeah.
Did we hear her say the word theory at some point in there?
That's what she refers to it, yes.
What was the theory thing? What was she saying?
She's saying that every time that she lied to us was her sharing her latest theory.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't
Okay.
claiming that she was making factual statements about what happened. She was saying she was just kind of throwing out theories.
Just throwing out theories of exactly how I did things.
Was she describing the Origel story as just a theory that she had proposed?
Yes.
And was she saying that she had only proposed it because, well, she had come to and found the Origel and was trying to figure out how.
Wait. So now the Origel story is just a theory? Wait, so how is the Origel story just a theory? She was going to go to war on that one. I met Missy to get some Origel. I visited, and Missy's like, bitch, I ain't seen you in months. And that was her big deal. I went to get Origel. I called the store to ask if they had Origel. I went in there to get Origel. Didn't have Origel. Had to talk to Missy to get Origel. Now that was just a theory of her case. That was a theory, a possible theory that maybe perhaps she went out to get Origel. Come on. If I was a juror right now, I would just start throwing stuff at her. I'd just start throwing my pen, my notebook, my purse, whatever. I'd just start throwing it at her. Not that I have a purse. I mean, if I had a purse, I'd throw it at her. I wouldn't throw my wallet at her because she'd probably steal it. I would just lose my shit and start throwing stuff at her.
Yeah, she said she found it in her vehicle.
Yeah, get out of town. The reason I stopped here just one last quick time was because we have Adara the Wholesome. Your shirt gives me an idea. LawTube D&D campaign where you're all lawyers and your campaign is to begrudgingly defend the big bad evil guy as his lawyers. Okay. Adara, it sounds like you're having a LEILANI Simon cocktail. Oh, speaking of cocktails, where's mine? It's not a LEILANI cocktail. There we go. It's my bourbon lime Ricky. Delish. Thank you, Adara. What's the island for? Adara, yeah, stay away from the LEILANI Simon cocktails. All righty. Yeah, David Nelson, now I got to cover my tracks.
And that's the only thing that made sense to her.
It's a man bag.
Did she describe her story about throwing away trash as just a theory that she had come up with in response to Brad asking her whether she had thrown away trash?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now I want to just ask you about a couple features of these prior.
Now throwing away the trash is a theory, even though there's literally a fucking video of her standing in front of a dumpster, throwing it in there. Oh my Lord. Seriously, how is the jury just not throwing crap at her right now? Throwing crap at her like Sonny A. Chris is throwing around gifted memberships, man. Sonny A. Chris dropping 10 more Legal Vices memberships in a big bad way. You get a bell and a foghorn. If you happen to be who gets these? Queen Bee, Margaret Tier, Manuel Yates, Andrew Valentine, Marcy Abinanti, KJ, Kristen Emmons, William Atlanta, I suppose, Angel R, Lisa Gordon. If you're one of those people, you got a gifted membership from Sonny A. Chris, give him a super special thanks. And if we are not at emotional support potato pig dog cam, we are very, very short. Let me do some lawyer math and we'll be back with you at the end of this witness. Thank you, Sonny A. Chris. You are a mensch. You are an OG. You are a goat. You are my hero.
Now, I want to just ask you about a couple features of these prior stories that she's referring to as theories, okay?
Okay.
You talked to her on October 5th when she first launched the Oragel story, right?
Yes, I did.
We're there for the
Did this
Oragel
story
launching party.
Who she had gotten it from?
Yes, it did.
Did it include where she had gotten it?
Yes.
Did it include when she had gotten it?
Yes.
Did it include why she had wanted it and obtained it?
Yes.
Did it include details such as how many tubes of Oragel she got, and how many were open already, and how many were unopened?
Yes.
The story about throwing away trash that she gave to Special Agent Snyder and Special Agent Solomon on October 12th, did that include such details as specifically what the trash was?
Yes, it did.
What it smelled like?
Yes.
How long it had been in the car?
Yes.
Yeah.
When she first registered the odor of the trash?
Yes.
What kind of trash bag it was?
Yes.
What color the ties on the trash bag were?
Yes, it was a very vivid story.
But it was all a theory.
An admission to having looked inside the trash bag before throwing it away.
Yes, she said that.
An estimate.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
The trash bag weight.
Yes.
And a statement about the exact physical mechanics of how many hands she used to put it in the dumpster.
Yes.
You had either conducted those interviews or observed them prior to this interview, right?
Correct.
Did any of those things sound like mere theories to you at the time that she said them?
No, they did not.
Now,
They didn't sound like theories to me
this
either.
interview, particularly in the first bit we watched, the 20-minute bit, was she asked at some point by you? I think we can all agree that something did happen.
Yes.
And did she nod her head yes in response to that?
Yes, she did.
Was she asked, do you think you may have killed him or something to that effect?
Yes.
And is it the case that she was just not able to give an answer to that or just didn't really say anything?
That's correct.
Was she, at some point, did Special Agent Solomon say, you harmed your child and hid him, or words to that effect?
Yes, she said that.
And is it fair to say that the defendant just did not affirmatively dispute that? She didn't say, no, I didn't.
She did not.
And separately, did Special Agent Solomon say, you hid him in the dumpster because you had harmed him in some way?
She said that.
And did she also fail to dispute that statement?
Yes, she did.
One moment, please.
Well, that doesn't sound very good for LEILANI Simon, does it? And you know what? I'm glad it doesn't sound very good.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. No further questions from the prosecution. We'll see what the defense does, but I have done the lawyer math, and it is my pleasure to report to you, everybody across the YouTubes, the Rumble, and the Twitter, that we have for the 66th day in a row, day 66. 65 can go right out the door. Get out of here. Get out of here, 65. We are in day 66 of unleashing the emotional support potato pig dogs. Thank you so very much for the support, getting us to that goal for day 66. It looks like we might hit triple digits by the end of the year. We all need it. We all need the emotional support potato pig dog. So it is with pleasure for the 66th time in a row, keeping the streak alive, we get to give the command to
Release the hose.
And there is Strawberry's butt. We have a stealth cam. We don't want her to see she's on camera because she'll start barking. See, she senses it. She's been sitting there just looking at the wall for an hour. But she senses something deep in her soul. God dang it. See, look, she just knows. Be very quiet. She's going to get some water. We'll put the camera on Yoda. Yoda is feeling under the weather today. Because for the past few days, there's been like a growth on Yoda's ear, and it was like swelling, and it was causing him a lot of pain and stuff. Took him to the vet right after work before we did the show, and apparently, old dogs with like big, strong necks, the blood vessels kind of get stretched out. They get a little thinner, and like a dog with a strong neck can literally shake its head so hard that it'll burst like the blood vessels in the ears. And that's apparently what happened. So it was just this big growth that was filling up with blood. And so we had to drain the blood from Yoda's ear. Yoda is not real happy about that. So Yoda's just laying down, being miserable. And well, if we don't get this where it needs to go, it's very, very, very likely that it'll come back. But if it comes back, they have to like cut open his ear and cauterize the blood vessel. So poor little Yodes. But he's okay now. He's just grumpy at having his ear stabbed by a needle and probed and things sucked out of it. But all right, that's enough of the sad, depressing Yoda story. So yeah. Oh, that happened to your dog. Yep, they cut it open and let it drain for weeks. Yeah, they said just they'll just take it out this once, and if it comes back, it'll keep coming back. And if it comes back again, they'll just schedule surgery and cauterize it and be done. Yeah, especially they don't like have needles jammed in their ears, right? But yeah, I was surprised. He said like the dogs, their neck is just so strong that the force shaking their heads can actually burst blood vessels in the ears for the. Yep. You can actually burst the blood vessels in the ears of older dogs. Oh, well, of course, if something weird ass like that is going to happen, it's going to happen to me and my dog. So anyway, that's the emotional support potato pig dog cam we have unlocked. Yoda's just hanging out, being relaxed. He got lots of snacks, so we're good. All right, let's get back to Leilani, shall we? Thank you so much for getting us to day 66 of unleashing the emotional support potato pig dogs. The next break we should take will likely be in about 20 minutes. I'll try to shut up for just a little bit. But before we do that, we do have Island. Island's in the $2 chat. It's okay to admit you miss me, Jeffy. Of course I missed you, Island. How could I not miss you? I always miss you when you're not here. Thank you so much for being here, Island. All right, let's see if he's going to get interviewed by Bozo the Clown or Doofus, and what stupid questions they'll have for her.
I do judge, but I was going to say this
Doofus.
might be a decent time for a little break in case it takes a minute.
The time now is 2:36. Let's just take a few minutes to shift. Let's make it about 10 minutes. That will be 2:46. All right. We're in recess.
Yay, recess, my favorite part of the school day. All right, we'll skip the little break here and immediately begin with Counselor Doofus asking some stupid questions of what's her name? Marion Lemons. I just remembered Lemons. So they're back. Cross-examination of Marion Lemons, the lead investigator in this case. This is her third time on the stand for the prosecution. I don't think I've seen people get broken up into like 2 times on the stand, but I haven't seen anyone come back to the stand 3 times. But I like how they're doing it. They question her about the
appears
section
that
they want.
everyone is not ready. So the jurors
Then
who
the
are
next
present,
section they
if you'll go
question her.
back to the deliberation room. That's fine.
Uh-oh, we've got some lawyer quibbling. We've got some lawyerly quibbling
On
coming up
second
here.
thought, it appears that things are working out.
Never mind, we have no lawyerly quibbling going on. Or do we? They're just making her stand up.
All right, excellent.
Marianne.
Do y'all want to change the order?
I can't live without your scars and sand. Marianne.
I could tell that was going to be a thing. Everybody, please have a seat.
What a great underrated Alice Cooper song,
Okay.
Marianne.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move now to further testimony.
Yes, Jem, it is
And
refreshing. It's
no one
a
discussed
bourbon
the
lime
case or
Ricky.
did any research. All right. Thank you. Mr. Hilliard.
This is the first time I really had a chance to speak to Lee, so I'm going to go way back to the beginning for that reason, okay?
Uh-oh. Now we're going to give her the real cross-examination.
I picked up the wrong path.
Oh, my God. She's unimpressed with Counselor Doofus. Dude can't even get the damn right.
So you arrived on scene at 10:30 on October 5th, correct?
No, after 12.
After 12? Okay. And how long were you on scene on October 5th?
He does this so often. He'll ask these questions like, you did this, right? And the witness is like, no, I didn't do that. I did something else. Or you were here, right? No, I was somewhere else. He has done that so many times. He's either an idiot or he thinks he's being tricky and it's not working out.
On scene, probably about an hour.
All right. And at what point in time did you take Miss Simon, Mr. Youngkin, and Mr. Simon over to the precinct that day?
I asked one of the patrol officers and some of the detectives to have them transported probably within that hour.
So probably around 1 o'clock then, but just trying to get a general idea.
Yes.
So on October 5th, around 1 o'clock, all three of them went over to, I guess it's the police.
The
precinct?
headquarters?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And how long were they there on October 5th?
Until about 2 a.m. the following day.
So about 13 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
And over the course of the trial, we've seen a number of interviews during this time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. He
And
said condescendingly.
during that time, you were also speaking with, I'm going to assume, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Oh my God.
Speaking with Miss Simon.
See? And just less than a minute ago, Penny Ward said, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. Come on, see? Jeez. Really, dude? I'm going to be so happy. I am going to be so happy when I don't have to hear that BS anymore. That I don't want to put words in your mouth, but let me just put some words in your mouth. Do you mind? Doofus. All right.
Mr. Youngkin and Mr. Simon, as well as others at the time, but those were the three main ones, right?
That our team spoke with, yes.
Yes. Okay. So that was 13 hours on the 5th to the 6th. When did you next speak with Miss Simon or have your team speak with Miss Simon?
We were in communication with her for probably the next 2 weeks, almost every day.
Every day? When you say ran communication, I guess that means phone calls?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And when was the next, I guess, in-person interview?
October 8th,
Should be
How
his
long was
shirt.
that one?
almost 2 hours.
And that was at TCPD as well?
No, that was at the FBI office.
And 1 second, I'm running out of room here quickly. And when was the next one after that?
October 12th.
And how long was that one and where was that?
That was almost 2 hours as well. And that was at the FBI office.
And during this time frame too, this is the phone call. You still having phone calls during this 2-week time frame?
Yes, sir.
So it's 13 hours on the 5th, 2 hours on the 8th, 2 hours on the 12th. When exactly was the hotel room video and audio?
What part of it?
The actual time they were in the hotel room and y'all were videotaping.
The 8th and 9th.
It was October 8th to 9th, correct?
Yes, sir.
And during the same time frame, you were wiretapping Daniel Youngkin's phone from,
Wait.
I think, around the same.
Wait, I thought they'd already found the body when they were doing that interview from the hotel room. Wow, I had my time frames mixed up. I thought they'd found them. I thought they said they found the body. Oh, all right. That's why it's important to have more than one juror. The other jurors are going to remember things that one particular juror may not recall correctly.
Time, October 8th or 9th, for about 60 days, right?
Yes.
Intercepting all of the phone traffic between him and her.
Yes.
And just, not that it matters, a rough estimate is even after you arrested Miss Simon, you still intercepted his phone calls between them, correct?
Yes.
So that was at least, generally speaking, between October 8th, 2022 to December 8th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
All right, so that's going on at the same time the other interviews are going on, right?
Yes.
So October 12th, I'm sorry, was the next in-person interview. When was the next interview that your team did of Miss Simon at that point?
After October 12th?
Mhm.
October 31st.
All right. And how long was that one and where was that one?
That was at the FBI office, and I believe that one was also probably 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay. And the next one after that?
Would be her final interview when she was arrested.
And what day was that?
That was on November 21st.
And that one was how long?
3 hours.
And so from October 5th to November 21st, were you still in constant contact with her?
The team was.
The team was. And by the team, you mean yourself, Agent Solomon, Agent Schneider, and anyone you delegated to do that, correct?
Yes.
Now, and you said that on, I think it was November 21st, she expected to be arrested when she came in, correct?
Yes.
And you asked her to come in, correct?
Yes.
And she came in, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Correct. Yes.
Now, we've seen some of the excerpts here that you put up here today. Now, let me ask you this. What interrogation technique were we just witnessing on this particular video?
I don't have a name for the technique. We were having a conversation.
All right. Well,
Say
you
read.
said you don't have a name for it.
Say read.
Gone to the academy, correct?
Say read.
You were trained in interrogation techniques. Correct?
Read.
Yes.
And what interrogation techniques were you trained in?
I don't have the name for the techniques. My way of doing it is just making sure I have the full story. And if I don't understand anything in somebody's story, I just keep asking questions until I do.
He wants you to say read.
So in this particular technique, though, which we just witnessed, and we've seen the entire time, is it safe to say that you're putting individual stressors on the interview subject?
In which interview?
All of them.
It depends on what you would say is a stressor. We're talking about her dead child, but
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and that's my follow-up question. Wouldn't you think speaking about that would be a stressor?
Well, Jesus, they're trying to find the dead child. What the fuck do you want her to talk about, jackass? Jackass, what do you want him to talk about? The child is missing. They're trying to find the child, whether she did something to it or whether someone kidnapped the child, but don't stress her by asking about the child. What the hell? God, I hate this guy. What an absolute dumbass.
Yes.
Okay. And wouldn't you think that speaking about that would evoke an emotional response?
Yes.
Okay. And you seem to have had opinions about that emotional response, but what have you been trained that is the appropriate emotional response? Do you have a level?
Can you restate your question?
I can. So if you are overly hysterical, then you're overly hysterical. If you are not hysterical enough, then you're not hysterical. How do you gauge the appropriate response level to your questioning for you to be satisfied? What's the right answer? What could ever be the right answer?
For what appropriate reaction she had?
Yes.
I'm basing that on previous interviews I've done with families that have lost their children.
Right. But every individual is different, are they not?
Yes, sir.
I'll give him that.
Okay. So in this particular case, a number of times Mr. Dean has asked you a number of questions and you said it wasn't emotional enough or it was too emotional, hysterical. And how do you make that determination? What is the appropriate objective standard by which you can judge that?
I believe I focused on the October 5th interview when she would do the screaming and yelling portion.
And that was when you made your decision, correct? October 5th?
Rosalind, how are you?
As to how and where you were going to focus your attention in this investigation.
I like how she's broken that up into during the screaming and yelling portion of the interviews, like there's the calm part, the confused part, the screaming and yelling part. There's like these delineated parts of her questioning. During the screaming part, that was good.
Investigation.
No.
Okay. Then when did you decide that Ms. Simon wasn't your prime suspect?
She was our prime suspect, you mean?
I said, when did you decide that she wasn't? If you said you didn't do it on October 5th, okay, so you're saying she wasn't your prime suspect on October 5th?
No, we looked at all three of the adults in the residence as possible suspects.
Okay. So that being said, you looked at all three of the adults. Did you ever look outside of the residence as a possible suspect?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do to pursue any of that?
Outside the residence? So we did a canvas, as we've previously talked about.
Right.
No leads came up with that of any suspicious persons around the residence. We set up the tip line that did not prove any other suspicious persons. We spoke with probably every single family member of this family in Savannah. None of those had any guesses on who it could be, including the three people that lived there.
And let me ask you this about your interviews with Ms. Simon. All of the interviews, she was free to walk away or not engage in those interviews.
Oh my God, you've already gone over this.
Until the final one.
The final one was a little bit different, correct? Because you already had warrants at that point.
Yes.
Okay. So and even knowing that, she still came to that one, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, she cooperated, so she didn't
Mr.
do
Dean
it.
asked you a question about whether or not she denied something, but not denying something is also not admitting something now, is it?
No.
They're not the same thing, are they?
No.
Okay.
What?
So
this guy
my
just
recollection was I don't think she's ever in any of the interviews admitted to harming Quentin, has she?
No.
Now, in the last interview at that point in time, had you ever determined a manner or cause of death for Quentin Simon?
I have an opinion on how he died.
I didn't ask you your opinion. I'd ask you if you determined, has a doctor made a medical determination as to manner, method, or time of death?
No, due to the remains, we were unable to find that.
So that's no. Okay. And that being,
And you know what? The cause of death, the motivation for the death doesn't really matter. They don't have to prove how she did it. They don't have to prove why she did it. They just have to prove that she did it beyond a reasonable doubt. How, when, where, why doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of it. So, but he's trying to make the jury go, Yeah. They don't even know how she did it, so we can't convict her. There's certainly not enough evidence to convict her because they didn't even show how the baby was killed. There's, I'm not going to rehash this. Let's
She
just
said when you were interviewing Miss Simon on that last particular day, you focus on a lot of things that weren't said, but she never said that she killed Quentin, and she never said that she disposed of his remains, did she?
She said she did not remember.
Okay. Now, you said you have an opinion, but opinions are just that. They're not based, they're just your opinions, right?
that's why they're called opinions. Yeah.
People have opinions, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And opinions are not evidence, are they?
No.
That's all the questions I got, Judge.
Cringe face.
No redirect, Your Honor.
Yeah. No reason to waste more time. We're not going to redirect. Nothing to talk about here. Move along.
State may call its next witness.
May we have a moment, please, Your Honor?
They need to take a moment. Hurry up with your moment. We can skip through the moment here.
Subject. Your Honor, subject to verifying that all of the evidence that we've offered has been formally introduced and admitted, the state rests its case.
Wow. All right.
And so with that,
Okay.
jurors, I'm going to ask you to return to the deliberation room at this point.
Now here. Oh, the dishwasher's done. Now, for those of you that have watched trials before, and for those of you that are familiar with how things work, we're actually going to see something that normally we just go, all right, very, very, very rarely do we get to see the judge going, okay. But today we're going to get to see a little bit of comedy, unintentional comedy on the part of the defense. What we're going to see now, because it just happens after every single time the prosecution rests, the defense lawyer literally has to do this. If he doesn't do it, it sets up at least a decent argument for ineffective assistance of counsel. He's got to stand up and make a motion, in all seriousness, make a motion for a directed verdict, which means he has to argue to the judge that even if you accept all of the evidence that's been presented in this case, and if you look at it even in the light most favorable to the prosecution's arguments, there is no way that a reasonable juror could conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that she did it. Their case was such utter crap. The prosecution's case was such garbage that even if you accept every piece of evidence and every witness statement is true, they still haven't proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt. So I ask you for a directed verdict of not guilty for my client. He's going to have to do that with a straight face. Argue that there's absolutely no evidence that a reasonable juror could point to and go, that's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. Because like I said, normally, occasionally, we've seen it a few, like I think 2 times in the past year with some of these high profile cases where they ask for the directed verdict and they get it. It is exceptionally rare. Normally, it's just like, it's a paint by numbers thing. They stand up, they make the motion, the judge says, thank you, denied. And then it's preserved for appeal. But this is actually, he's going to have to do this with a straight face. Oh, all right, let's do this.
Jurors are exiting.
Oh no. This is wild. Oh, it looks like Mr. Magoo is going to be. Is Mr. Magoo going to be doing this, or is Doofus McGee going to be doing this? Oh, this is so fun.
Yours are clear, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Smith. Everyone may have a seat. Okay.
The state just wanted to verify
Our
Yes.
exhibits, and we should have exhibits 1 through 94, and 94 is an A and B in evidence, with the exception of 83. Oh,
Microphone.
sorry. What I was saying was the state should have exhibits 1 through 94, which is an A and B exhibit in evidence, with the exception of state's exhibit 83.
So 1 through 94, A and B, but not 83.
All right, they got to check the
Just
the
wanted
evidence
to
here
verify
first, I
that.
guess.
Thank you, too. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, Madam Clerk. Okay, and that's what you show is in evidence.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. And then, is there any motion by the state? Excuse me, by the defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
Oh,
Hurst?
here we go.
Here, let me give Mr. First the microphone.
Oh, it is. It's Mr. Magoo. Mr. Magoo is giving
Just a
the
moment.
ridiculous
Begin,
argument.
Mr. Hurst.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to focus my argument as to a motion for directed verdict.
Go ahead, buddy.
Just so we're all on the same page, I'm focusing on counts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to take them kind of in separate batches and then all together with my final thought.
All right.
With respect to counts 1, 2, and 3, that allege that LEILANI Simon committed malice murder and felony murder of Quentin Simon, the defendant moves for a directed verdict of acquittal. First, there's no direct evidence to support these claims.
None whatsoever.
The state has presented theories and its conclusions, but has presented no direct evidence that LEILANI Simon committed these crimes the way they're charged in counts 1, 2, and 3 in the indictment. I think the medical examiner's testimony is significant. She expressed no opinion about the manner of death, the cause of death, the time of death, and even as an expert in her field, couldn't even express an opinion that Quentin Simon died as a result of the commission of these crimes.
You wouldn't let anybody give an opinion.
That leaves us with circumstantial evidence in Georgia, and I'm quoting Official Code of Georgia 24-14-6, quote, to warrant a conviction on circumstantial evidence, the proved facts shall not only be consistent with the hypothesis of guilt, but shall exclude every other reasonable hypothesis, save that of the guilt of the accused. With respect to the circumstantial evidence argument connected to the murder claims, again, the medical examiner testimony is extremely significant because what it presents and what it leaves out raises lots of hypotheses as to what happened to Quentin Simon and does not only establish the guilt of LEILANI Simon as alleged in the first 3 counts of this indictment. With respect to count 4, that alleges concealing the death of another. Concealing a death is against the law in accordance with Official Code of Georgia 16-10-31.
Now, mind you, this could be quite long because he has to argue this for 19 charges. She's been charged with 19 crimes relating to the death of her son. So now I forgot to mention, he's got to do this for 19 arguments, for 19 different charges. So let's keep track.
Which provides that a person is guilty of this offense, and I'm paraphrasing the statute, when a person conceals the death of any other person and does so to hinder a discovery of whether or not such person was unlawfully killed. In this instance, the medical examiner's testimony again failed to establish that Quentin Simon's death was the result of any unlawful act. Basically, all four counts of this indictment, I should say, is grounded in a bunch of theories and the state's speculation and conclusions. With respect to that, in suggested pattern jury instruction 1.20.20, Georgia law provides that facts and circumstances that merely place upon the defendant a grave suspicion of the crime charged, or that merely raise a suspicion or conjecture of the defendant's guilt, are not sufficient to authorize a conviction of the defendant. At this point, the state's evidence is ground in speculation and grave suspicion, but not on facts and not on evidence. On behalf of LEILANI Simon, we move for a directed verdict of acquittal with respect to counts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the indictment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Purse.
Oh, all right. I guess he's only going to do for the big uns.
Mr. Dean.
Watch Mr. Dean just go, Judge.
Your Honor, I'll be brief. We've presented sufficient evidence for the jury to find, based on both circumstantial and direct evidence, that the defendant is guilty of all four of those counts. The Wyatt case is clear that when we allege that certain facts are...
Yeah, I would have given anything for the prosecutor, for Mr. Dean, just to stand up and give his true opinion of what happened there. And we all know what we wanted him to say, don't we?
Everything that guy just says bullshit. Thank you.
And then he sits down and she says, I agree.
And then, such as manner of death or certain other facts in the murder counts, that those become material allegations that we have to prove. And I think that Mr. Purse's understanding of the medical examiner's testimony is exactly backwards. It does not support a directed verdict on any of these counts. In fact, it was offered to prove the material allegation that certain facts are unknown, and it does that. We've said in the indictment that she killed him in a manner unknown to the grand jury, and that was the point of calling the medical examiner to say, I couldn't do an autopsy because of the condition of the remains. And so we've proven that. Circumstantial evidence does, a circumstantial case does have, the evidence does have to exclude all reasonable theories other than.
Now, I'll give him a break on the because, quite frankly, the hardest arguments to refute are the stupid ones, are just the ones that are so out there, that are just ridiculous to make. I mean, if someone makes a well-reasoned, logical decently grounded argument. You can do the same. You can address the points. But if somebody comes down and says, well, I did it because Bleeple Blurble did the bloppity blue. Okay, now you have to counter that. And you're just you're trying to think, how the hell do I refute something that is absolutely that stupid? So I'll give him a break on the ums here, because he's literally saying, okay, I just heard some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Things that he knows is stupid shit. Now I got to find a way to reasonably, logically, and legally argue against something that is completely R-worded.
In guilt, and we've done that by presenting affirmative evidence that there was no medical event, there was no accident. The defendant was asked repeatedly about that and denied it each time. And further, their actions after the fact were totally consistent with any type of accident. There are only so many ways to die, and we've excluded all of them, but in intentional act of violence that resulted in Quentin's death. In concealing the death, it requires that you conceal the death of another such that it hinders, such that you hinder the investigation into whether the person was unlawfully killed. I don't know whether there's ever been a more straightforward
right
body of evidence in support of a concealing the death charge. I could go on. I hope and doubt that the court needs me to. So I'll wrap it up with that here.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sounds reasonable to me, counselor.
I am going to find that based on the argument made by the state, the court finds that there is sufficient evidence that has been presented for the jury for the charges in the indictment.
No, you don't say. You don't say. Really? Really, Judge? Who saw that coming?
All right. Are there any other motions from the defense?
We probably need to engage in the right to testify colloquy at this point, Judge.
We do.
Oh, they're going to have a colloquy.
So, I'm going to ask Ms. Simon to come up to the witness stand. And before going to the witness stand, if you'll be sworn.
All right. Now, what they're going to do here is we're going to hear whether or not Michelle M., that's what we're going to find out right now. Will she testify? That's what we're going to find out here right now. They're going to put her under oath. They're going to say, have you talked to your counselor about this? Has he explained this to you? You know you don't have to take the stand. You know you don't have to open your mouth and say a word. You know that you don't have to do anything, right? And she'll say yes. And then the judge will say, what are you going to do? And then we'll find out, is she going to testify or not?
Raise your right hand. Please swear.
The evidence you shall give the court on the issue pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, ma'am.
Unlike anything you've told us
Have a seat
before.
on the witness stand, please. Okay. All right.
You want me to do it?
I'm going to start out with Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon, please state your full name.
LEILANI Marie Simon.
Okay. And you're doing the right thing, just talking to the microphone so the court reporter can get it. I think you've heard me give that instruction a couple of times.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you understand that you have a right to testify?
Yes, ma'am.
And that if you want to testify, no one can prevent you from doing so?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand that no one can make you testify? No one can compel you to testify. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the right not to testify if you don't want to. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you understand that not your lawyer, but you personally are the one who decides whether or not you will testify?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you do not testify, that upon proper request by you, the court will instruct the jury that your decision cannot be used against you?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, the court will.
Don't do it,
instruct
Leilani.
if you decide
Don't
not
do
to
it.
Testify. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand that if you choose to testify, you will be examined by your counsel and cross-examined by the assistant district attorneys in AUSA?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you feel a need to have any additional time to consider whether or not you will testify?
I've been given plenty of time by my attorneys, notified weeks ago
All right.
about this.
Do you need any time to talk with him?
Do you need to phone a friend?
No, ma'am.
All right. And so do you personally wish to testify or not?
I do not.
Yay
And
for
with
you,
that, I
boo
find
for us.
that the defendant, LEILANI Simon, has decided not to testify with a complete understanding of her rights.
Yes,
Before you step off the stand, are there any further questions?
Just to follow up. Is anyone forcing you to not testify or to testify?
No, sir.
Your choice is made
Me,
freely and
I'm Jeff.
voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've had adequate time to speak with me and Mr. Person on your choice, correct?
Plenty of time.
Okay.
Someone can compel you.
Power of Christ compels you.
Just have to make sure. All right. And that's the only questions I had, Judge.
All right. Ms. Simon, you may step down.
Thank you.
What do you mean I got Danny liquored up? I didn't see her or Mr. on this trip to Korea. What are you guys talking about? How often is taking the stand worked out for the defendant? Rittenhouse definitely worked out for the defendant. One case in the history of mankind.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Hilliard is taking some time to speak with Ms. Simon in private at the table.
If I could just have a couple minutes there, because I want to go back in the back and explain to her. She had a couple of questions about what happens next. And I probably need a few minutes away from everybody to go talk to her.
Let's do that. It's about 10 till, I can't tell the time by that clock. It is 3:20.
You mean you can't tell time by the clock?
So let's step off until about 3:30 or so. Okay, we're in recess.
All right, we're in recess. While he explains to her, now that you're not taking the stand, I got shit to work with. You're gonna go to jail for a very long time, but let's go. Go team.
364J6. Ms. Simon is present with her counsel, counsel for the state is present as well as Detective Lemons. Is there anything that we need to take up before we bring the jury back in?
She was smiling like a dumbass because she's a dumbass.
So is the plan then to bring the jury out and have the defense rest and present?
Yes.
Send the jury home and talk about charges?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That was so succinctly put. Thank you. Bring in the jurors, please.
I am actually scared by what the judge meant that she can't read a clock. I'm really honest to God scared by what she meant. I hope it means she can't see the clock for some reason and not she just can't tell time on an analog clock, because that would concern me greatly. Like, greatly. See you, Q. All right, so it sounds like they're going to send the jury home, and then they're going to talk about jury instructions and stuff. Wow.
Jury room is clear, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Smith. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please have a seat. There were no discussions about the case or research? All right, very well. Mr. Hilliard?
Yeah, the defense rests.
Holy shit.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
Okay. Alrighty then. Damn, we maybe wait, what do they do on day 9? What the hell do they do on day 9? Is that just jury? Is that just verdict watch? Wait, the defense just rested. Wow. Okay. All right. I admit I wasn't expecting that. I expected them to have at least one kind of state sponsored or somebody paid for half-ass expert to testify about something, just something for the defense to at least point to. But holy crap. Yep. They're just like, no, we got nothing. But again, they can't just say, we got nothing. They have to couch it in terms of, well, they just did such a crappy job that they didn't meet their burden of proof, so we don't have to do nothing. We ain't got to do nothing. They sucked. So obviously you're going to side for us because those prosecutors, they just laser focused. They didn't consider other people. They didn't do anything and their case sucked. So not guilty. Yeah. Any doubt I had that she's going to be found guilty is way out the window. All right.
we are going to release you for the evening. There are some legal matters that we need to take up outside of the presence of the jury. I'm going to have you come back tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. Please continue to follow the court's instructions.
Wow.
Do not discuss the case. Don't let anyone discuss the case with you. Don't watch television shows. Do not do any separate research. Okay? All right. Very well. Thank you very much.
Jurors exiting. That's a bad sign if you're a defendant. Yeah. Was the defense relying on her to testify and she chose not to? No, they've been talking about it for weeks. This was all planned. This was all planned weeks ago. Thank you, Lancelot 652 for the $5. Yep, that's just they just had nothing. They got nothing to go with.
Please have a seat. Thank you. Thank you, Smith. Okay. So
they can watch TV. They just can't watch anything about this trial on TV. All right, hang on. I'll be back in a flash.
Of course, the request to charge from the state and from the defense. I've had an opportunity to review both sets, and do we have a copy? Okay. So I'll have a proposed set for you to take a look at. We can go through those and see where we stand. I'm having the jurors return tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Just in case we needed to take up anything earlier than that. I expect us to begin at 9 o'clock. And it may very well be, there are a couple of the counts we had some issue with in coming up with what the charge should be. And so that may take some thought. I certainly would like to hear what you have to say. Let's get those requests to charge to you in just a minute or two, and then we can go through one by one. All right. With that, we're in brief recess.
This will take a minute. Apparently not too long. Oh, Leilani, you're going to get what's coming to you.
Allow the
Yeah, you're about to get what's coming to you. Oh, wait. The judge has just left again. Come back. Come back, Judge Stokes. Is the state seal hammered into a sheet of tanned leather? I don't know. I didn't see that. I have to take a closer look at it. But what are they going to charge her with? Oh, she's already been charged with 19 crimes. And they're going to go over those one by one here. Baby, come back. Hey. Nice. Good song there, Ben. There, done that. Oh, I need, baby, come back. Yeah. All right, we'll just relight the pipe while we wait for the judge to come back. Poor Yoda. Yoda had a rough day. All right, let's move us forward here a bit.
indictment, page.
Here we go.
For you, the charges as they are put together now,
Blame it
pages
all
1 through 22. And let's just go in order. Page 2, we have the charge regarding the indictment issued and plea of not guilty, presumption of innocence, burden of proof, reasonable doubt. All of that is pretty standard. Is there anything with any of those? Okay, all right. Grave suspicion.
Does the court want objections or concerns as we go through, or do you want us to hold to the end?
No, let's go. Let's take the objections as we go.
I would object to grave suspicion. As the court knows, the pattern charges, I don't even know why it's still in there, because the pattern charge says, hey, this is totally unnecessary in light of how detailed and comprehensive presumption of innocence and burden of proof are. And that's supported by a number of cases, but as recent as a 2022 case from the Georgia Supreme Court. At their core, jury instructions.
Linda Lou, no, you don't inhale pipe tobacco.
And I think when that charge immediately follows presumption and burden, I just think it's totally confusing. I hate it. Visceral hatred for the grave suspicion charge. And we would ask the court not to give it. One thing that's nice about these cases is they make it pretty clear that it could
visceral hatred
never be an abuse of discretion not to. That's our position.
So, Mr. Dean, I ran through the first charges, came to grave suspicion and stopped because I imagine that you would have a problem with that one. Mr. Hilliard? Mr. Purse?
For the same reason you don't inhale cigar smoke. It's just it'd kill you.
I don't think it's error for you to give that charge since it isn't pattern instructions.
I don't believe it's error. I'm going to take a look at that again, but my thought is to leave it out, but okay. Put a little star by that one. Jury judges the facts, evidence, direct and circumstantial evidence, credibility of witnesses, expert witness. Okay, witness attacked, page 6. Is there any issue with this charge?
We were talking about this, Judge, prior to it. I don't have a problem withdrawing it. I think we requested it. And I think it just would honestly create more confusion than it would solve. My last trial, we had an issue with it, trying to tailor it, and we got it tailored, and I won, but I just think in this particular case, it's one of those unnecessary charges.
Mr. Dean, I'm gonna mark it withdrawn.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I agree, Your Honor, and I also agree I would make the same case as to witness supported. I just don't think we had that kind of thing going on with any of these witnesses.
I would agree, Judge. If the attack is coming out, the support doesn't come out too.
Okay, so witness supported is withdrawn as well as witness attacked. Witness impeached.
I think that stays in.
Agreed.
Prior statements.
I would like it taken out, but I mean, if you ask me to enumerate a reason for it, I can't other than my visceral hatred.
Yes, okay.
Okay, fair is fair. That was fair. He wants them to take out the part that from the jury instructions that say, you can use prior inconsistent statements or lies, as we call them. You can use those to determine the witness's credibility. It's like, I really want that out. I have a visceral hatred for it. I have no legal grounds for it. I just hate it. Because they're going to crucify my client with that. So I don't want it. But yeah, that was, he knows it's not going to get thrown out. He just kind of wanted to voice his opinion that he really doesn't want his client's lies to be used against her or to use to to determine her guilt or innocence. That was good.
Visceral hate going on here today. Okay, so prior statements remains immunity or leniency granted. We did have immunity granted.
Yeah, we did, but he asked like 3 questions and answered 3 questions, and it never came up. So I don't have an issue with.
Oh wow, that whole thing about the sexting questions with the paramour of LEILANI Simon, where they brought in the drug dealer that was sending the sex messages to her. They asked 3 questions. Dang, all that for 3 questions.
Withdrawing it, Judge. I don't see how it's a factor.
Withdrawn. Single witness corroboration. Defendant's choice not to testify. Statements of defendant. Okay. There was some tailoring, I think. Circumstances of the statements of the defendant, voluntariness defined, those would remain. Circumstances of the statements, etc. Any issue there?
Not from the defense, Judge.
Okay. Burden of proof as to voluntariness. Okay. Statement of defendant made on November 21, 2022.
And just for the record, to make the distinction, because some people later on may not see the distinction. My understanding was all of the previous statements were voluntarily made.
Right.
The November 21st statement was a custodial statement, which is why the Jackson memos and other voluntary questions have to be proved.
Right.
So,
Thank you, Mr.
I mean, just for clarification, with the parties like on page 8, for it to say something like statements of defendant prior to November 21st, 2022. I mean, I just think maybe some clarification or some other language in here.
My dog's
clarify
abandoned me.
for the jury that everything with voluntariness is included in addition to the additional stuff that comes after the statement for November 21st, 2022. With like the constitutional custodial issues.
To me, I think page 8 looks good. Because the jury does have to find voluntariness for all the statements.
Right.
Strawberry's coming back.
The only suggestion I would make is on page 9, when you get to statement of defendant made on November 21. I think the bit on lines 4 and 5 where it says if the statement was given in custody, I think the if part is weird there to me when we're both agreeing that it was given in custody. makes it a little confusing.
So
I think
your suggestion is to take that,
Take that.
that in the,
take that
out,
take that.
if the statement was given in custody, just take it out.
Just take that out and say maybe the give me one moment, please. Sorry.
You must determine whether the defendant's statement was voluntary and whether the defendant was properly advised of her constitutional rights.
Yes.
I mean, because that's what the pattern.
Yes.
Wait, I missed a super chat from Island. Oh, that's Lancelot's. Island. Wait, where did we go? Where'd Islands go? Here it is. Ha. Island. In bed in pantaloons. In solidarity with Yoda. Respectfully, I hope Leilani has slop for Thanksgiving, and her kids enjoy a feast safely away from her. Yeah, me too. Nadara the Wholesome with the $5. Jeff, the goal is D&D lawyers for the BBEG is to be ineffective counsel without your client or anyone else finding out. The goal is sabotage BBEG's case. Just keep developing that. Keep developing the game, Adara, and let us know how it goes. let us know how that goes. Thank you so much for the super chats, peeps. Let's get back to these exciting jury instructions. And I know these jury instructions, going over them is not the most exciting part of the trial, but hey, we got to do something here. We got to stream something. No, we stream the whole trial. I really hope this doesn't end tomorrow because I don't know what I'll do on Friday. I just planned on doing this through the weekend. We'll see. All right. We currently have 328 people here on YouTube, and we have about another 200 people scattered across Rumble and Twitter. So you guys are all super awesome. Make sure you hit your respective like buttons. And for those of you here on YouTube, we've got a like and subscribe poll set up that we haven't looked at yet. So we'll check that real quickly here. And while I'm doing that, it again is just a simple reminder to remind you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, please just double check to make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube is going through a purge. I'm being purged in the last 2 weeks. I think they've ripped about 200 subscribers. They just do it. Whenever you get like to a certain milestone or a certain platform, they kind of do that. And right around 85 to 87,000, a lot of people are stuck there for ages while YouTube puts them through a struggle session. So just please double check to make sure you're still subscribed. If you've already done that, we'll work it out. And our like and subscribe poll is, will AI be the death of humanity? 13% of you say maybe, just ask RoboCop. 19% of you say no, robots are friendly, right, C-3PO? 29% of you say yes. Yes, AI will be the death of us. I've seen the Matrix movies. And 39% of you say, duh, Elon is Skynet, Terminator. That's the poll so far. If you're watching this on replay or on another platform, just put whatever your choice is there in the chat. And remember, any super chats that come in here on YouTube, we'll read them as they come in at appropriate times. And also for those of you on other platforms, we have we've got Zelle, we've got Venmo, we've got Cash App. The links are in the description and being posted in there, usually on these little scroller across the bottom of the screen. All right, that's it. Let's get back to the exciting world of jury instructions.
Does the pattern charges say is that voluntary and then the constitutional rights?
Right. This is exactly what I would suggest. This is like exactly what I contemplated when I requested instructions.
So I'll just remove that if the statement was given in custody, since this is specifically directed towards the November 21st.
Right.
Statement.
I don't have an issue with the custodial statement.
Okay.
So we all agree with that.
All right. Moving on to constitutional rights. Any issue there?
I mean, the if part at the outset that's sort of like the same deal as the last part. Maybe it should say because the allegedly alleged November 21, 2022 statement was made while in custody as a result of police questioning.
How simpler, how about if the statement was made while in custody?
Miss Parker, if you'll just bend that
That's even better.
microphone.
To simplify that, how about if the statement was made while in custody? Since we're not really asking them to find whether it was or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not asking them to, but yeah, this is only as it relates to the November 21st statement. Correct?
That's the only one.
Yeah, if it's just for that statement, that's fine.
Moving to page 10, defendant initiating further conversation. Okay.
I don't think that this instruction should be given
Yeah.
because nothing was introduced as evidence about any such invocation. I mean, some of those earlier interviews did end with invocations of the various rights, or court found that they were legally ineffectual prior to trial and all that. Those were all redacted at the request of the defense, which I had no problem doing. But because none of it came up, I think the instruction is just inapplicable to this case at this point.
And I tend to agree.
Peggy, please stop licking her hurt ear. His hurt ear.
So defendant initiating further conversation, that charge is withdrawn or removed.
All
All
right.
Proof as to rights.
Wait, sorry, I was talking over that.
Didn't really get into any of that.
Okay. So defendant initiating further conversation, that charge is withdrawn or removed. Burden of proof as to rights. Okay. Conditions proceeding to consideration of statement. Okay. Prior difficulties.
On the conditions precedent to consideration of statement, there's that bit in there about the rights warning being a condition precedent.
But what about the rights of that
As we've
little
been talking
girl?
about, that only applies to the November 21st interview. So I don't know, I can't think off the top of my head exactly how to tailor that, but maybe it says something like, if you find, as mentioned above, that the defendant's statements were voluntary, comma, and that all of the warnings as to the defendant's rights were given as to the November 21st interview or November 21st statements.
I think it has to be some way.
There's got to be some way to. Okay, yeah, okay, that's good.
Okay,
That
what's
all
that?
the warnings as to the defendant's constitutional rights were given if required. Because I think it'll be pretty clear at this point when it's required.
Are you okay with that, Mr. Hilliard?
I am, Judge. I mean, we're speaking of the November 21st statement, and I think that we all agree, but as long as we find some way to tailor them, because we don't want to confuse them. So.
That is the most important thing.
Okay, now Canton,
that same point would apply to
Canton, Massachusetts
page 11.
courts. Take note.
If you fail to find that the
said
defendant
the
was
most
properly
important thing is
informed
not confusing the
of
jury.
her rights where required.
Okay. All right. We'll make those changes. Moving then to the next charge, prior difficulties between parties.
What about current difficulties reading clocks, Your Honor?
No issue with that, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hilliard?
I would object to that, Judge. If I'm going to, I mean, there wasn't really a prior difficulty. It comes back to whether or not, I mean, I just don't see it as a prior difficulty. Prior difficulty is usually between some sort of incident between the two subjects. I just don't, that charge isn't made for that. So I would object to that being included.
I think the difficulty here goes back to what we talked about earlier. There were witnesses that testified about what they observed as the interactions between the defendant and Quentin. And this does take some tailoring. Mr. Dean?
I think that charge has to be in here. I think typically it comes up more in like adult domestic violence cases, but it comes up in child abuse cases all the time. I think definitionally, the incidents that Talia Lacarda and some other people related, there just are prior difficulties under the law. And I think I worry about error if this charge is not included.
Now, I believe it was Bifrons that asked, why is the witness sitting at the table? Is she a lawyer? No, she's the lead investigator. Usually the lead investigator, the lead detective, is allowed and does sit at or immediately behind the prosecutor's table. She's not. So you can see she's like one row behind. So yeah, that is very, very common. And if you look, most trials, that's the way it is.
I'm going to include the charge.
What if I say most?
Identification, burden of proof.
A large number of.
I don't think there is an issue with this one. DNA. Any issue with that one?
No.
No
Okay.
issue, Your Honor.
All right, definition of crime. Intent. No presumption of criminal intent. Presumptions and inferences. Okay, we are party to a crime here.
There is, I'm sorry I hate to bring it up, the risk of sounding pedantic, but on 13, there's a typographical error in the bolded language presumption.
I'll take it.
Inferences. Okay.
Not interferences.
The old spell check got you there.
And I read it as inferences, even though I looked at it. Yeah.
And there are some references in when they reference the defendant, there's a he and a his.
Yes.
Yes.
I will make sure that the pronouns are correct.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
She said it doesn't really matter whether it says his or her, or, the general stuff.
She doesn't care about her pronouns. Based Leilani.
Okay. Anything else? Up to, okay, we're now on parties to crime.
Oh no, Jack.
Yeah, I had a question on this one.
I think Mr. Hilliard is yours.
No, this was requested by the state.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's
evidence of that.
No.
I don't think there's evidence of number one and number two. I don't think it's relevant.
Let me hear from the state.
I'd like for it to stay in.
Party to crime.
Yes.
Why?
I don't think I've ever had a case where it wasn't given, and it allows for people. It allows for people who think, perhaps somebody else was involved in some capacity. What does that mean for us with this defendant? I like it.
Okay. Let me take a look at that. Go ahead, Mr. D.
No one else is charged. The state's entire theory has been that my client did this alone. And so it's just completely improper at this point. There's no fact, there's no evidence, there's no theory in the case that points to a party to a crime. So we object to it.
All right.
To me, it's just a fundamental instruction that's given in every case that addresses what does it mean, what is required to be criminally liable for something in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
I don't know that it's one of those instructions that has to be explicitly raised by anything somebody said or argued.
I'll take it under advisement.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Guilt by mere presence. Mr. Hilliard. Mr. Dean, any problem here?
I'll wait to hear from Mr. Hilliard.
Oh, I don't have any objection to it.
Okay,
Neither do I.
all right. Guilt by mere association.
Same, I don't have any objection to it.
Okay. Venue.
I think that's the pattern charge.
It is a pattern charge. Malice, murder. Malice, motive. Okay, felony murder. That's one that we want to make sure, I want to make sure is correct. Felony murder, causation in felony murder. Actually, that's essentially the pattern. The felony murder.
These are from the latest, newest.
Right.
charges. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
That wasn't it. The aggravated assault with an offensive weapon. So let me go back. Felony murder. Once I read it, I had a circle for some reason. It's a pattern, causation in felony murder. Any issues with that?
Felony
Okay.
murder, no objection.
Concealing death. Simple assault generally.
I think the simple assault has to be doing.
Yeah, it's by way of explanation. The aggravated assault with an offensive weapon.
The only suggestion I might make as to that charge is I think we've got it indicted as object that actually did cause and not was likely to cause. And if that is the case, then I might ask that likely to cause language come out of the last line.
Okay.
I mean, that's not like necessary that it be taken out because that is the definition, but to further tailor it. Am I right about the indictment?
The
You are right.
indictment,
It is charged as did result in serious bodily injury.
yes.
So you would like her to say, that it actually does cause and just remove the other.
Yes.
Mr. Hilliard,
He wants it to say actually does cause versus likely to cause.
an offensive weapon is any object that does cause, right?
Or just say causes, I guess.
Causes.
Since we're taking that out.
Thrilling, but we're almost done.
Causes or actually does cause.
And not just object.
Yeah, I got about 10 minutes left here.
Why don't we do that?
Object that causes. I think that's
And during these
All
last
right.
10 minutes, you should probably go down there and hit that subscribe button.
Okay.
I'm sure at least one of you is not subscribed. Go down there and do it. It's free. It costs nothing. And hit the
All
like
right,
button while you're down there.
determining if weapon is offensive. That charge.
And this one's pulled straight from the pattern.
Okay. Cruelty to children in the first degree. That's also statute. Any issue with cruelty to children in the first degree? Okay. Voluntary intoxication, not a defense.
May I, cruelty to children in the first degree, may I ask that item 2, cruel and excessive?
Cruelty to children in the first degree. That's not a very good charge, is it?
I know it's charged in the conjunctive as cruel and excessive because that's how we have to charge. But in terms of what we actually have to prove, it's not necessarily both. It's one or the other.
Conjunction, junction. What's
So I'll
your
ask that that be
function?
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard.
I would leave the language the way it is in the indictment. I think it's indicted as cruel and excessive. I don't have it in front of me, but
It is indicted that way, but if we don't change that to or, and I have to ask for a totally separate instruction that the whole and means or instruction, then I'd rather not do that. Because I think that's the only place in this indictment where we've got a conjunctive that we might want them to read as disjunctive, and I don't think that I'd rather not ask for the whole separate instruction that, hey, there are spots where, certain crimes can be committed in more than one way, and the state need only prove one, even if they've alleged more than one, and that whole deal. I'd rather just change this and to or and be done with it.
The case law forces us to charge with an and rather than an or, but the case law also says that if we only prove one, the other is surplusage. And the simplest way not to have to explain that to the jury is just to make it an or.
Do you hear anything further?
I just think if you don't stick to what the language in the indictment is, it's going to create an issue back there in the jury room. That's my humble opinion.
Yeah, you might have a
My
point.
inclination at this point is to have number 2 read cruel or excessive, but I'll take another look at it. That's my inclination. Moving on then to voluntary intoxication, not a defense.
I don't think I requested that. So, I mean, I would object to it because I don't think anyone was raised that as a defense. But it's mine, I withdraw it. But
I believe that may have been yours. Mr. Dean?
I requested it because no jury instruction has ever been raised by the evidence more prominently than that instruction has been raised in this case. It's an accurate statement of the law, and the jury absolutely must hear that principle of law in this case.
I'm going to include it. False report, we will make the changes there. He, she will make those pedantic changes. All right.
It does say, it says misdemeanor in there,
Oh,
Which one? Oh, I see it.
and I don't think the jury's to know the distinction with respect to punishment.
okay.
I'd suggest making that false report of a crime is when a person blah, 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 and then take off the guilty of a misdemeanor part.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep. Okay, so that charge goes in without the last phrase, is guilty of a misdemeanor. So that comes out. Okay, making a false statement. Okay. Verdict generally. Unanimous verdict form. Court has no interest in case. Sympathy, responsibility for sentencing. Deliberations. Jury use of technology. Retired to jury room. So going back through, page 3, grave suspicion, Mr. Hilliard would like that to remain. And I'm inclined to allow it to remain, maybe because there's not error, although I agree with you, it's not necessary. Witness attacked on page 6, as well as witness supported on page 6 have been withdrawn. Page 7, immunity or leniency granted witness, that will not be given. Page 8, statements of defendant, that on page 8, really page 9, will be adjusted to reflect the difference between November 21st statement being in custody and the other statements were not in custody. Constitutional rights. We made a change there, did we not?
We did.
Okay.
if the statement was made while in custody, we typically you find that out.
Defendant initiating further conversations, that will not be given. Conditions proceeding to consideration of statement will reflect only as to the November 21st, 2024 statement. Prior difficulties will be given over objection. Page 13, inferences will be corrected in terms of the spelling. Page 14, parties to a crime or parties to crime. The state very much wants that there. The defense does not want that there. Want it given. I'm going to take a look at that.
Allow me to revise my position. I don't very much want it there. I just.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dean. So, parties to crime will not be given.
All right, we're about ready to wrap this up here. Thank God. You know what? As a matter of fact, there's really nothing left to talk about here. This is kind of dull and boring at this point. So let's just call it there. Right. I was just looking ahead to see what's going on with this. Let's wait. What are we doing? There we go. That's what we wanted to do. I was just looking ahead to see how this is going to play out over the next couple of days. Thankfully, we're still on schedule. We're still on schedule for Wednesday, Friday, and possibly Monday. Thankfully, because the closing arguments are long AF. The closing arguments take about 6 hours. So I'm thinking we will do probably tomorrow. We will start with the prosecution's closing arguments. Then we will probably on Friday do the defense's closing plus some of the rebuttal arguments. And then we'll finish up with the rebuttal and jury instructions and verdict on Monday. So good. Phew. That's I think we've got ourselves covered through Friday at least, and possibly into Monday. We'll see how it goes. So that'll be good. Right. Well, now's your last chance, people, to hit that like button, to hit that subscribe button, and to throw super chats at me. So let's see here. Will AI be the death of humanity? 14% of you said maybe. Just ask RoboCop. 18% of you said no, robots are friendly, right? C-3PO. And 29% of you said yes, I've seen the Matrix movies. And 39% of you said duh, Elon is Skynet, Terminator, baby. That's the end of our poll for today. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. What has happened here? Straubs is chewing on a bone. Yoda has been resurrected and come back to life. Why are you so dark, Yoda? Yoda, why are you so dark? why is that camera so dark? Let's lighten Yoda up for his final appearance here on the cam today. Auto exposure was on. Why? Huh. All right. Whatever. I have no idea why that's so dark over there in Yoda Town. Okay. Whatevs. Maybe if we just bump the exposure a bit. All right, there we go. There's Yoda. Yoda has sort of recovered and has a little bit of life to him. So chat, thank you so much for everything you do, as always. Once we get through this, we'll take a couple of days, watch some body cam footage, watch some wild court things. And so that'll probably be Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. We should be starting with our brand new retro trial on Thursday. Then beginning on Friday, we will start catching up on the Tonsil twins, Clayton Eckert, Laura Owens case. There's been some denials of motions. There's been an appeal filed. Megan Fox and I will probably be reading the appeal together. We'll look at some of the other legal aspects of that. There's been some bar complaints filed against some of the lawyers. We'll check those out. And once we finish that, we'll move on to Judge Grudge and what has happened with him regarding the What the Hales case and the Gosney case that he is on. There's been some developments on both sides. We'll be looking at a lot of motions that have been filed with Judge Grudge. Again, we don't talk about the What the Hales drama and stuff because that has no bearing on the legal aspects of the competency and the judicial decorum of Judge Grudge, aka Judge Craig DeThomas's. So we'll be looking at Judge DeThomas's for a while. And right now, as we speak, there's a Karen Reed trial going on. There's a Karen Reed motion hearing going on regarding, I believe, if I recall correctly, phone records. So we'll be checking out that, and that'll probably be the next thing we look at, catching up on the Karen Reed stuff. She's supposed to be doing her retrial in January, but I have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to be delayed, what with a new prosecutor and all. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to wrap this up. And again, mods, thank you so very much for being here and doing your best, doing what you do every day. So deeply appreciate that. And chat, thank you so much for the super chats, the gifted memberships, the purchase memberships, getting us to day 66 of the emotional support potato pig dogs. Let's see if we can make it day 67 tomorrow. And we're going to send you on over to Broken Baker because he's covering the Karen Reed hearing as we speak. So go say hi to Broken Baker, tell him Legal Vices sent you, and let's see what's going on in the Karen Reed motion hearing, which we'll be covering probably 3 weeks from now. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for everything. All 438 of you across YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. Have a great time. Go say hi to Broken Baker. Peace out. Take care.